Well, you can just give us a bloody video. Give us a camera. No.
Give me the camera.
No, I'm going to tell them you're an idiot, man. Don't take any notice of this bloody idiot, guys.
Right, guys, I'm sorry about my friend Posh Geordie. He gets a little bit excited, but he's, he's got a good heart. And it's going to be straight to the point, and I'm not going to beat about the bush anymore. And I don't mean to offend anybody, but this is what I think. Now, your situation might have worked out pretty well, but there's more doesn't than what does. And unless you've got a crystal ball, even if you're in a situation that seems to work okay, anything can change that situation, especially bad health. Your money's been cut off, and think about it and understand why I'm saying it. Right. You've spoke to a girl online and she comes across as she really likes you, right? And you really like her because you're an old guy, and the place you live, the country you live, you're invisible. No younger women see you. Even if you're in your early 50s and they're just in the early to middle 40s, they want younger men, they don't want older men. When you hear Filipinas, and again, I'm not painting all Filipinas with the same brush. I'm trying to avoid comments from trolls. You're talking to a girl online and you like her, she likes you, it seems to, and after a week she's in love with you. And then because you are who you are, a foreigner, you've got a decent pension, whatever, you might have a nice house that's yours, the mortgage is paid off, etc. And you want to send her money every month. So you send the money every month, and then, as time goes by, you might have been talking to her for a year, maybe 3 years. I know some guys have. And you decide to come and see her for a week. And in that week, you decide to get engaged. And then because you're engaged, you're talking about coming back to the Philippines and buying some land and buying a house and living happily ever after. But what you don't bear in mind is that a lot of people will know this, but for those who don't, a foreigner cannot own land in the Philippines. It's just, you can't. If you get Filipino citizenship, you can own land. There's a lot saying you can't, but do your homework. That's rubbish. Short of that, you ain't own the land. So if you marry a Filipina, or you buy your girlfriend some land, or you buy some land and you build a house, you can consider that gone if she decides she doesn't want you anymore. I mean, that's just how it is. This is my advice, for what it's worth. If you're talking to a Filipina online, one, you don't discuss your finances. Big no-no. Right? To her, you're on a modest pension. If you come to the Philippines, of course, it's stretched further than what it does in the West. And, you might think us foreigners are rich because we can jump on a plane and come to the Philippines, and you can't do that kind of thing. And that's what you must do. The other thing I would advise against is sending them money every month. Because you're going to get those who play it cool and don't ask you for money. You're going to get those who don't play it cool and just straight out ask you for money. Don't send any money. And then if you come to the Philippines, you don't have to marry them. Unless at some point you've had a child with them. I don't see any point in buying land and building a house or buying a house. At the end of the day, I agree, you've got to leave the kids something. I've got 2 kids. I've got to leave them something. But if I didn't have 2 kids, I don't need to buy a house, land, nothing, rent. I'm getting old. And this is what you've got to look out for if you're with a Filipina that is very, very young, it doesn't matter if you're like me, or at least at the moment where I'm mentally and physically fit again. It's all right while I'm like this, but what happens when I'm not? What happens when I have to rely on that Filipina for everything? What happens then? What do you think your Filipina may do if you're no longer capable of anything? And I mean anything. What then? What do you do? What will she do? Will she assume the role of boss and talk to you and treat you like a child? Will the family then come in on the situation and start looking after you? Will she start disappearing for long periods of time? You know, the bottom line is, if you can't come to the Philippines and be able to lose the money that you put into the Philippines, i.e. buy land, build property, buy a big 4x4, whatever, buy a scooter, and all these things that you think is going to make her care for you more. We'll not use the L word because I don't believe in that. I'm not a bad person, honestly, I'm not. I'm just being realistic. If you think by showering them with gifts they're going to like you more, then that's not going to happen. For a start, look at yourself in the mirror and ask yourself why this young, attractive girl is saying to you that age doesn't matter. Of course it does. A relationship involves physical contact, and I'm not just talking about the obvious. There's got to be contact. There's got to be care. But above all, there has to be energy. What do I mean by energy? If you're talking to them, they put their phone down and they sit up and they listen to what you're saying. They're interested in what you're saying. They're asking you questions. If you may happen to need them to help something, do it with energy. Do it. The same kind of energy that they would put into if it was for family members, friends, that kind of energy. And if they don't, you have to question yourself, not her, because obviously the situation may be, if you question it, she may get mad, and it may be twisted to where it's your problem, even when you're just looking for a little bit of care. Again, I'll not use the L word. So the thing is, if you are getting the minimum when you first meet this girl and you're just putting to one side your needs, what do you think's going to happen when you're really old and really not good on your feet and really haggard and not good looking? If you were in the first place, what do you think is going to happen? Now, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I'm saying it probably will happen. I'll give you 3 recent subscribers that I know that went against my advice. Well, the 3 subscribers, but the British guy is a little bit more than a subscriber to me. They've all gone home, 2 Americans and 1 Brit. The Brit, luckily for him, didn't lose a massive money because he stuck out and wouldn't buy the land in the house. Maybe he's saying that's why she kicked him into touch. The other 2 Americans, of course, did. and they've lost everything they paid for. The Brit didn't marry her, but the two Americans did marry. Now in the Philippines, the law is similar to anywhere else in the world, where you are entitled to 50% of whatever exists at that point, whether it be property, cars, furniture, houses, whatever. But you try and get it. You're going to have to go through the courts. Nothing works fast here. Over time, it's going to cost you a lot of money, maybe even more money than you get out of it, depending on what it is you've bought. So take my advice how you want it. And I know there's exceptions, guys. I'm not saying there's nothing. I'm not saying there's no, all Filipinos are bad. That's ridiculous. That's rubbish. They're not. There's some beautiful Filipinas. And I don't just mean in looks, in heart and everything. And they will look after you till the day you pass. And mourn your passing. And I'll not put it in percentage, but a lot better. You're a lot better off. They're a lot better partner than what you'll find in the West, and especially at our age. So I'm not saying don't do it, guys. All I'm saying is, well, I am saying don't do it, but all I'm saying is, unless you can afford to lose a SHIT load of money, don't do it. Don't do it, because you're going to end up on your behind and you're not going to be a happy bunny. So don't forget, it's not because I'm smarter than you, it's because I've screwed up more than you. The description if you want to help the channel out. If not, support the channel by keep watching the videos right to the end. Don't skip the adverts. And thanks, and we'll see you on the next one, guys.
You got to remember, guys, he's not giving you advice because he's smarter than you. He's giving you advice because he's a bloody idiot.